All right. The interviewer is Christian Wright. Today is September 22nd, 2020, and we're at the Camden Carroll Library at Morehead State University. If you could please introduce yourself.
My name is Bradley Dalton. I'm from Inez, Kentucky.
And what year and what's your major?
I'm a senior, and my major is exercise science.
When did you first hear about COVID, and when you heard about it, what did you think?
Actually, I heard about it pretty early. I heard about it probably in January, early January, maybe earlier than that, but I had a professor last semester, so January, my safety and first aid professor. He was constantly talking about COVID. He was like, y'all need to get on your phone right now and look up something about COVID. He said, this is going to be a big deal. And I can remember us all thinking like, it's a few cases and it's a big world. It's not going to get here. And he was right. We were wrong. So.
And then, since you were in his class, do you have any insight on kind of what made him think this was going to kind of turn into what it did?
Well, he's a safety and first aid instructor, but he's also a health professor, so he probably has a lot of connections, and I think he knew stuff before the public did. So he was he didn't want to tell us the specifics, and he'd even say like, well, I can't tell you all this, but you need to be paying attention to what's going on. It's going to be a big deal. So I think he knew a lot just because of his field and stuff.
And so were you on campus last year when we left early?
Yes.
How did that feel?
It was horrible. It was horrible for a couple reasons. For one, this was my first year at a university, my junior year, because I'd been at community college, and I hated leaving because, I was scared at first, let's put it that way. I was scared. I thought, this is probably the best way to go. But then after a few weeks, I was like, man, I miss college. I miss my friends. I miss doing things. I don't like being locked up in a house all the time. And another thing that I hated was I'm a basketball coach, and the team that I coached is in Martin County, Kentucky. I was an assistant, and we made it to the state tournament for the first time in 37 years. We won our region. We were going to play in the state tournament, and it got canceled. So it was nothing good came out of it.
Classic 2020.
Yeah.
Do you know if they're giving y'all another shot at that, or?
They had originally wanted to. They had talked about May, June, even August, but no, not now. They're not having it. Everything's focused on the new season now.
So when we left last semester and everything went online, how did that feel, and how did that impact your studies?
I think it made it harder. It might have helped me in my physics class just because I had no distractions, but I don't know. I think it was harder because I didn't have a teacher there telling me what to do, or not telling me, like just instructing me and giving me guidance, and I didn't have my peers to work with in person, and we would work together in hard classes. And then some online classes, it just turns into busy work. I just don't feel like I learn as much. I like the interaction being in person.
How's being on campus differed from last semester when we still had on-campus class to now? I know things are a little different.
I consider this the middle road. Like, you had the normal, which was before COVID, and you could go hang out with friends anywhere. There was no mask. The rec center had everything open, like the basketball courts included. It was just normal, and that was obviously the best. So you had that over here, and then this is kind of like the middle road. It's not like lockdown, which is over here. You can't do anything, but it's a compromise. Like, we wear masks. There's a lot of things open at the rec center. There's some classes open, social distance. So I give it a C grade.
And when we first went in lockdown, how was daily life? And then how is daily life now for you?
Well, daily life is definitely better now than it was when we first went lockdown. First, everybody was kind of unified, like, oh man, what is this thing going to do? Like, nobody knew anything. So that was the scariest part. People were buying toilet paper like crazy, and I never understood that, but that was definitely the worst part for me personally, just because I didn't know what was going on. I didn't know if I was supposed to wear a mask or not. I didn't know where I was supposed to go, if I could work. A lot of things, and a lot of insecurities and fears. And now we don't know everything we need to know, but I do feel a lot better off now. I feel like we're making progress. it's definitely better. I'll take this over what it was like when lockdowns first started.
And when we first went into lockdown, I know that changed how a lot of people use technology. Did that change it for you? And if it did, how so?
It just made me rely on it more, use it more. Like things that would normally be a face-to-face meeting, like I'm in a fraternity and like chapter meetings, that's turned into Zoom. And any new group I join, like I'm joining the pre-physical therapy club, that's turned into online Zoom meetings. So it's made me rely on it more, and it's a good thing because it's good because I like that we can still keep things going, that we have that ability with technology. But at the same time, I hope that one day we don't rely on it too much, because I just think there's something about face-to-face that still you can't beat, like in person.
There's still something missing between that human-to-human
Yeah, it's not the
interaction.
same thing as being physically with somebody.
And you mentioned you were in a fraternity, so how has COVID impacted that?
Oh, it's been really rough for that. We've not been able to have any social events. We've not been able to. We're not supposed to be in groups with each other larger than 10. Our meetings are online. We've had to, our dues prices have decreased, but that's just because we have to have some baseline. But I'm worried it's going to give us a hit, and other fraternities and sororities, because not as many people did recruitment this year, because they're thinking, well, why would I? There's not much I can do. So I just hope we can get through it. But it's definitely made things a lot tougher.
How did COVID impact your guys' recruitment this year?
I think we had, I wouldn't quote me on this, but I want to say 10 members. But for us, last year my pledge class had 23, so it's been reduced by more than half.
Man, that's crazy.
Yeah.
And how do you feel about the rules and guidance the university's handed down about COVID?
Really not bad. I think Morehead's done a pretty good job. I mean, it's easy to complain, but I don't want to take things for granted. I mean, considering that, I'll give you an example. I have a class today in person that was originally, it got moved to online, but because our case numbers went down, I'm able to go back to class. So, like I said, I have my complaints, but they found some type of balance that's working right now. And if we can do that until there's a vaccine or whatever, it's much better than being at home. So I think they're doing better than a lot of other universities did that's had to shut down.
Yeah,
So.
I think there's quite a number of people surprised we're on week 6 right now.
Me too, because I was telling everybody 2 weeks and we're out. We're
Same.
home. So we've beat that.
How do you feel about how transparent the university's been with their COVID information?
Well, I mean, I think they've done pretty good. They've sent emails telling the number of cases. I can't remember. I've not checked my email in the last day or two, but they were, at least at first, sending like, okay, there's been this many cases. I'd say they could probably do a little bit better, but from what I can tell, they've tried to be pretty honest about it.
And how has COVID affected you personally?
Yeah, me personally, well, I'm a basketball trainer as well as a coach, so it did hurt my business at first. I was able, over quarantine, like once things calmed down a little bit, to do like 1 or 2 people in a gym that I had access to, thankfully. Was not able to do groups. I used to have big groups of kids come in, and now since things have eased up a little bit where I live, I'm able to do small groups, but it's hurt me as far as, financially. It's hurt me financially. And I think the isolation, there were days where it got to me. I was just like, man, this is boring. I miss my friends. I have it better than other people. I'm thankfully, nobody in my family's died from it, and I hate it for people who have had family and friends die from it. But I think even that, if that hasn't happened to you, I think it's affected us all in some way. Negatively, unfortunately.
Yeah. Is there anything else you'd like to add or talk about?
Well, no, just thanks for letting me have this interview. I hope one day people can look back at it and hear a testimony.
All right. Well, thank you for your time.
Thank you.